Hello, everyone. This is Lauren coming at you with the break zone. I'm just gonna do a follow-up video for the Monowire deck list that we posted up a couple days ago. I actually completely forgot to talk about the Monster Classic characters. The deck list includes two Tonberries, which are a pivotal card, a very important card of that deck, and I completely forgot to talk about it. So yeah, here it is. Two drop Tonberries. Enters when a Tonberries enters the field, choose one forward. It loses 2,000 power until end of turn. Put Tonberries into the break zone. Choose one forward. It loses 2,000 power until the end of turn. One water CP. Put Tonberries into the break zone. Choose one forward. It loses 4,000 power until end of turn. So effectively, if you want to, Tonberries can help you with combat. It will on the turn it comes to play, deal reduce forward's attack power by 2,000, and then you could also do that again on a separate turn for another either 2,000 or 4,000, or if you wanted to on the turn that you play it, if you don't mind breaking it right away, you can deal you can reduce forward's power by 4 to 6,000 power right there. Keep in mind, this is a water character, so it counts for Cagnasso, and it really helps also break things that uh, you would want larger forwards with Cognasso or bouncing Cognasso. So it totally works with the game plan. I mean, we're talking about like Tonberries, Beatrix, Cyclops, Cognasso, Mystic backup, all of them combined together. I mean, I pulled off some pretty fancy tricks last time I tried it out. It's actually pretty fun, but you got to be able to get your backup set up and some water characters into play for it to all matter. And that's going to actually lead me into my next talking point, which is this weekend's Summer Series in Las Vegas. I mean, good luck to everybody that's going to go out there. It, I mean, love competitive events for Final Fantasy TCG. Really excited to see what comes out from there. So I'm going to kind of talk about the matchups that I expect to be there. I'm going to expect to be there to be a lot of Fire Ice and some. Well, I can only talk about the water matchup because I didn't discuss the deck list for the fire ice. Um, there'll probably be also some mono lightning and a lot of other things. Main ones being like I said, the top two that I mentioned before. Fire ice and mono water would be the most expected contenders. And one of the problem cards that mono water has to deal with from the fire ice matchup is Genesis. Um, Even when I played decks that were not mono water, any deck that doesn't really deal well with a first turn hasted character will have to figure out a way to deal with Genesis. It's a play that they really like to go with. I'm fairly sure that uh, people would mulligan to try to get into Genesis if they had a weaker hand. And first in Genesis hurts a lot. I mean, Mono Water's game plan is to go mid to late game. They want to set up their backups first, play efficiently, and normally they don't. You don't mind taking a couple of damage early on. Uh, that changes with Genesis. Though. His second ability to that when Genesis deals damage to your opponent discards one card from his or her hand. That actually completely messes with your plan. You need to somehow be able to efficiently play your backups while setting up a defense early on, which is something that Mono Water has a hard time doing. Um, and well, I mean, the first ability doesn't really hurt you as much. When Genesis enters the field, choose one forward opponent controls, dull, and freeze it. It can help. It can definitely hurt you like mid late game. That's what it's useful for. Early game, if you were somehow able to set up a defense with one character, one forward, he would be able to deal with it as well. Uh, but one of the main things you want to focus on with mono water in order to deal with the fire ice aggro is ash. Ash is a very important defense that helps you set up the rest of your board afterwards. So if they try to target it with like a Shiva or anything like that, you'll be able to and uh, pitch a card for CP and be able to use her ability to activate her, and she'll become a 10,000 power blocker. So that's really gonna help. So yeah, I mean, hopefully you'll be able to draw your one of your ashes early on. One of the issues with mono water is that a lot of their forwards are actually odd numbered, and for the ones that are even numbered, I mean, we're talking about what I think it's only Steiner at that point. I could be wrong though. And if you play Steiner to block a Genesis and they swing into you, I mean, Steiner is larger than Genesis, but keep in mind that they always have that Belias pump that could be in their hand, and if they're able to take out one of your early played forwards effectively like that way, it's going to set you back a huge amount. So an example would be if they play a first in Genesis, they hit you with haste with I don't know, and after that you discard a card. Then if next turn you play a Steiner try to block it, because obviously Steiner's one of your larger forwards, um, if they're able to take it out with Genesis plus Belias, you're gonna be set back a huge amount of cards, on top of the fact that their Genesis is still in play and they drew a card from Belias. So be careful of walking into a Belias trap. I mean, it could also be a bluff, but in this game, I haven't seen many people bluff actually. But I have seen people like it's if you know your opponent's general game plan and the usual cards that they play with, you can kind of tell the things that they're trying to do. Uh, Also, if they try to hit you with a lock or a Belias or a lock or a Genesis and swing into your Ash and hypothetically trade, it's really up to you to try to figure out if they're bluffing or not that they have a Belias in hand, because I would definitely take a trade of Ash blocking a Genesis. Yeah, I don't want to discard an extra card. I would take that early trade. There's always a chance that they have another one in hand, and there's always a chance that they also have a lock. But you know what? I mean, it's something I'm willing to do early on to try to hopefully set up my backups. So if you're playing Mono Waters this weekend and you run into Ice Fire, it's a tough matchup, but good luck. Hopefully, you'll be able to come out on top. If you survive to mid late game, you can definitely do really well against it. I mean, combination of Ash and a couple of forwards, can also blocker if you need to, and your forwards being bigger than theirs, you should be able to take them on. It's just that you have to worry about the early game, and if you do happen to run into them, good luck. And I'm really kind of anxious to see the results of this weekend's tournament. So good luck to everyone, and see you soon.